All right, I think we are live. Um, Day four of the CompTIA Security Plus. Um, another another night of completing the anki deck here. Uh, Hopefully, it's a little better than last night. Last night I had some internet issues, so hopefully won't run into anything specific. All right, I think we're back. Just had a issue with Anki here. I think the timestamp was incorrect. Okay, so we have section four today. I do want to revisit section three and do a couple questions here. Just slightly modified. Um, let's quickly go over some of these, see if any of these that we touched on last night we can revisit and get them right this time around. So this question is asking us what would be used with a centralized directory. And directory here is the key term using SSL and has a non-standard version. They utilize SSL for secure communication. I think the correct term here is LDAP. Let's move on. Our protocol is used to query routers and switches, ensuring confidentiality. Um, this is a question I don't think we got um, last time, but I think the correct answer is B. Okay, this one's wrong. SNMP, simple network management. I also remember that one. Network. Uh, okay, we'll revisit that one. Uh, Endpoint protection and response. This is also a new question. Um, um, let me just move on from this one. Okay. What is the primary advantage of endpoint detection over traditional antivirus? B. Which of the following describes the primary purpose of DLP? So we did have this question last time. I think the answer is C here. Um, what is the key feature of next-gen firewalls, or NGFW for short? Differentiation from traditional firewalls. Control upload running over the network, regardless of IP address, support number. I think the correct answer here is C. So the following describes host intrusion prevention systems. This usually would be like a client-based system, hence the term host. Um, yeah, so I think the correct answer here is D. Yep. Purpose of a host-based intrusion detection system: prevent correct answer here is B. Or sorry, correct answer is C. Analyze the system and detect intrusions. I just, yeah, poorly worded on my end, or poorly read on my end. We'll just, we know that one. What is the primary advantage of using a host-based firewall on individual endpoints? Primary advantage. Okay. UEFI. This one we didn't get. That allows to ensure that no part of the bootloader has changed by malicious software. Um, I think this is a TPM thing here. Um, well, I actually think it's secure boot. Yeah. Yeah. So I think we have a good idea of three. We'll practice some more questions in the future. I just wanted to touch base back on three and uh, do a little bit better than we did last night. So good enough. We did 10 questions. We'll do the 20 here on section four, just so that we could hit section four today as well. And then, you know, um, outside of stream, I will do the last 10 questions for three. Which command can be used to map an entire path between two devices and determine what routers um, may be may be between point A and point B? It sounds like a trace route from source to destination. It kind of shows you the hops from the source all the way to the destination server, which command can be used to query DNS domain name server, domain name uh, server, and determine names and IP addresses. Querying the DNS server. I think this is NS lookup. Yeah. Which command can be used to gather information about the active connections on a device? Active connection on the device. This is netstat. Um, yeah. Uh, if you run netstat on in command prompt, it will display all the active connections. Um, netstat is a command to show active connection on the device. Dash A option shows all active connections. Dash B associates the Windows binary with an IP address conversation. And dash N displays IP addresses without resolving names. So, Professor Measure, reconnaissance tools, part one. What is Nmap? So, Nmap should be uh, um, Nmap itself is used in scanning like a network, seeing what ports are open and vulnerable. Um, uh, doesn't actually scan for malware, so B would be out of there. I think D is out of there as well. It does scan for ports, but it also is a intelligence platform, or it is used for threat intelligence to see what vulnerabilities you have on your system. So could be A or C in this one. I would think both of these would be true, but I guess there's only one right answer. Yeah, so it's C. Port scanner, uh, free open source tool used for network exploration, security auditing. It scans networks to identify hosts and the services that they are running on, as well as the operating systems they're using. It also discovers open ports on host systems. Um, Nmap also does indicate if a if a port is vulnerable, um, and um, there is some argument here that A could be the potential answer. But Josh said this is incorrect because Nmap is not a threat intelligence platform. Threat intelligence platforms are used to collect and analyze threat data in order to improve cybersecurity posture. Well, I mean, yeah, yeah. I, I guess maybe the wording here is maybe just this definition here might elude me, and that's why I could have potentially answered A here. But good review. What commands allow you to map an entire path between two devices using ICMP, time to live, exceed error messages from routers on the network? Um, Time to live. This sounds like ping. Oh, okay. This is a trace route. Okay. The trace route command allows you to map an entire path between. Oh, yes. Between two devices. Okay, so this is the context clue here that I kind of missed out on. Um, Ping is used to troubleshoot and test communication on a single device, not to map the entire path between two devices. Yeah, misread here. Yeah, correct answer is D, and we understand why. Which command can be used to view active connections between your devices and others, as well as the associated Windows binary with the IP address conversation? Um, that's that B. Yeah, yeah. The answer prior kind of told us that. Um, let's move on. What command can be used to show all active connections on the device? What option should be used to associate the connection with the binary? Well, I think um, well, all active connections is A. So I think the correct answer is C. Yeah. Which of the following tools can be used to perform a port scan through a proxy? So this would be a tools thing. Think this would still be an Nmap thing, um, but I am unsure about this question. Okay. Correct answer is D, scanless. Scanless is a utility that allows you to perform a port scan through a proxy. This allows you to effectively scan a network from a different host, which can be used for avoiding detection or performing scans from a remote location. Nmap, HPing, and Nessus are all different types of reconnaissance tools, but they do not have the specific capability of performing a port scan through a proxy. Okay, so scan less through a proxy. That's how we're going to remember here. Which of the following tool is used for scanning a network to locate IP addresses and identify open ports on an IP address? Open ports on an IP address. Scan a network to locate. Use a scan a network to locate IP addresses and identify port open ports on IP addresses. This sounds like Nmap. Um, I would assume Nmap could do this. It can identify the port. Well, you give it the port range, then it'll go ahead and scan all those IP addresses. But I guess to locate an IP address may be something that it it cannot do. Um, Unsure about this one. I'll go with hping. The Just based on context clues here. Okay, you got it right. Just smart guess, or sorry, uh, context clue guess, but it's still a guess. HPing is a scanning tool that is used to perform IP scanning to locate IP addresses and identify what port numbers might be open on an on an IP address using a number of different techniques. Okay, which command can be used to see all active connections currently being used on a device? All active connections. Again, this is an indication that this is a netstat question um, being used on a device. Now, this section is being used on a device. Netstat it would still be true there. So I think the correct answer here is A. Yeah. ARP-A commands show the current ARP cache routing route print command shows the routes configured on a particular device. Okay. What parameter is manipulated to cause ICMP time exceeded messages in the traceroute command? I believe that's a time to live or TTL. Um, yeah, whenever you hit a time exceeded, you run into a TTL issue. So time to live. Going to be yeah TTL. This is done by manipulating the TTL value. It is possible to receive IC MP time exceeded messages, which are used by the traceroute command to build the route. Okay. What is the purpose of the curl tool? Curl tool, well, perform IP scanning. Well, no. To identify vulnerabilities on a remote IP address, no. To gather open source intelligence, sounds about right. To run safely in a sandbox environment. Well, you can run it in a sandbox environment, but I don't think it's used to run programs. Uh, so I think that would be out of the line here. So going with C. Yeah. It allows you to see the source code and search through it and gather open source intelligence. Therefore, the correct answer is C. What is the harvester tool used for in reconnaissance? Well, just by the name, gather something, right? Performing IP scanning, identifying open ports, running vulnerability scans on remote devices, gathering open source intelligence uh, from public websites, running programs in a sandbox. Context clues, Harvester, haven't used it too much, or uh, li- little to no use of it. So based on what I know, I'm going with C. The Harvester tool is used to gather many different kinds of information from many different kinds of sites. You can go to Google or Bing. You can gather information from LinkedIn and many other resources as well. For instance, if you wanted to find everybody on LinkedIn that matched a particular domain, you can have the harvester automatically find the information and present it to you on a screen. The harvester it can also provide things like DNS, brute force, so I can identify not only DNS services that may be publicly available, but it can find a host that may not be automatically identified in a DNS server. For example, you may be able to find a VPN server or email server by running some of the brute force tasks within within Harvester. Um, Therefore, option C is correct. Okay, long explanation, but hey, we'll go with it. um, and the other ones um, are incorrect. Let's move on. Which of the following is a reconnaissance tool that combines information from various tools to provide a single set of queries for all functions? Combines information from various tools to provide a single set of queries for all functions. Um, Sounds like Nessus. Well, I'm not too familiar with Sniper. I know there's a paid version where it's quite powerful. Um, I might go with Sniper in this scenario. I know it has various options, and there is a free tier version of it. So maybe the correct answer here is C. Hey, good guess, but guess nonetheless. Sniper is a reconnaissance tool that combines information from various tools to provide a single set of queries. Okay, and then it explains what curl does, HPing does, and Nessus. Nessus is a vulnerability scanner used to identify vulnerabilities on a remote IP address. Okay, let's move on. What is the purpose of using scanless? So we learned about this in a previous question. So let's see if we remember. Um, Scanless is form vulnerability scan. No. Identify open ports on a device. Yes. Well, uh, this is an Nmap one, right? But specifically to proxy a port scan through a different host to gather information from a DNS server. Go and see here. Scanless is a utility that allows users to perform a port scan through a proxy, effectively hiding the source of the scan. This can be useful for voting detection during reconnaissance activities. Options include choosing which proxy to use and which ports to scan. Which tool can be used to enumerate DNS information from a DNS server? Perform a brute force to find subdomains. Um, hmm, interesting name here. But I'm going with DNS enum, just based on context clues here. Yeah. So DNS enum is a tool that can enumerate DNS information from a DNS server and perform a brute force. Okay. And the Nessus is a vulnerability scanner. Uh, Kaku is a sandbox to run potentially malicious executables, and HPing is a tool for sending customized packets and performing port scans. Okay. What tool is what tool is a popular vulnerability scanner with a large database to identify known vulnerabilities? Um, which tool is a popular vulnerability scanner? Okay, well, we know of one with a large database. Okay, identify known vulnerabilities. Sounds like Nessus. See. It is one of the most popular vulnerability scanners in the industry and has extensive reporting and information to help identify and resolve vulnerabilities on a system. And Nmap is a network mapping tool, and so on and so forth. Explains the other tools. Okay, what tool is specifically designed to run programs in a virtualized environment and identify any malware present? We learned about this one just a few minutes ago. I think the correct one here is uh, gonna butcher it. Kaku. Um, haven't personally used it myself, but we learned about it in a previous question. Yep. So Kaku is a sandbox tool that's specifically designed to run programs inside a virtualized environment and identify any malware present. It can perform API calls, identify network traffic, and perform memory analysis. This tool is used for evaluating different executables and confirming that they are safe before deploying them in an environment. And that explains what the other tools do. Let's move on. Um, what command allows you to view only the first five lines of a file? First five lines, well, um, Linux commands. Tail looks at the end of the file. Grip is a search tool used to search through a file and find a specific string of text. Cat is short for concatenate. It kind of outputs uh, the file, and then head is the beginning of the file. So you could tell it to print out the first five lines of a file. So head, tails, right? Kind of makes sense there. And then cat and grip would be eliminated in this scenario. So um, flip a quarter. I think we're going with heads. um, yep. In the example given, the user can find the first five lines of a particular file by using the command head -5 file name. The tail command, on the other hand, allows you to view the last few lines of a file. The grep command is used to search for a particular pattern or text in a file. And then cat is used to display the entire contents of a file. Yeah. There is another way to do this, just for the audience here. So you could do -5, or you could do something like head dash n and then 5 and then the file name, right? Um, 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 this syntax, I think it's incorrect. I think what you need to do is you need to cat the file name and then pipe and then do a n-5. So it would print out all the contents of the file and then only show the first five lines. So kind of does the same thing as this, but a little longer. Um, so we will cancel that. Keep going. What is the command to view the last five lines of a file? The last five lines. Well, we learned about that in the previous question. Head shows the first few lines. Tail shows the last few lines. Um, looks like there's a typo here. um, so gonna have to Josh is gonna have to fix that eventually. But yeah, correct answer is B. Not because it has the giant correct on it, but because tail looks at the last few lines of a file. In this case, we're checking for the last five lines, so we can see that and dash n5 file name works. And um, I think kind of going back to the previous one, I do think that this works like head n5 and then file name and head file also works. In Linux, there's 1,000 ways to do the same thing. So, um, feel free, whatever is convenient for you, do it that way. Grep in this case would just find a string in the file. So if the string text or the word text exists in the file, it will showcase to you where it is, and then um, in this case, cat the file and show all the contents, and then pipe it to the more command, which would uh, uh, display the content there. I think that is it. Answer here is B. Okay, cool. I think we got majority of those right. So kudos to us. Let's finish those last 10 questions on section 3 since we kind of sped through section 4 today, and then call it a night. So this question, which protocol is used to securely query routers or switches for information ensuring confidentiality, integrity, and authentication? So we had this question just a few minutes ago. The correct answer is SNMP v3. Um, and oops, uh, accidentally skipped through that one. I wonder if we can go back to it. Uh, yeah, we had this question. I think we'll skip that one. What is a measured boot? Um, the process verifies digital signature of an operating system, a part of the UEFI that protects the BIOS. I believe this is the correct answer. A process that measures if any changes have occurred in the operating system. An image of a TPM module that can be installed onto a motherboard. I did read about this. I'm kind of doubting my answer on B. This sounds like secure boot, um, but I'll go with B for now. We could be wrong here. Yeah, correct answer is C, so we got that one wrong. Process that measures if any changes have occurred in the operating system. Makes sense. Um, I think we just kind of got stumped there. UEFI stores a hash of the firmware and the boot drivers, and the hash created by the information is stored within the TPM of the system. A verification report shows all gathered information is sent to the attestation server, which then compares the information in the report with the information it knows to be trusted on the system. Okay, we will come back to that one. Which of the following is a way to protect data inside of a database by replacing sensitive data with a token that is not associated with the original value? Um, with a token here, I would assume tokenization would be the part. Hashing just adds characters into uh, the the data or like a password, right? And then encryption encrypts that, and then Celt puts some characters at the end. As far as I'm aware, could be wrong there between these two, but I think the correct answer is D. Yeah. Uh, this can be used to specifically for this can be used specifically for credit card numbers to protect from anyone else gaining access to that credit card. Tokenization allows limiting the use of tokens, making it a valuable part of the process. Cool. Okay, move on. What is the primary purpose of the boot uh, uh, attestation? She's my grammar or English grammar isn't too high tonight. What is the primary purpose of the brute attestation process? Um, Ensuring the BIOS updates come from the manufacturer, verifying digital signatures of the operating kernel, checking the digital signatures of the hardware drivers, comparing system boot report to known trusted information. So to attest something is to check it against something else, right? Um, for example, when someone attests that they are aware of your whereabouts or your skill sets, right? They're like a validator. Um, I would assume D would be correct here, just kind of using context clues. Let's go with D. Cool. But why is it D? Is it's the important question. I mean, the guess was there, but we need to know why. Comparing the system's boot report to known trusted information. Boot attestation is a process where a device provides a central management server with a verification report, which includes information about the firmware, boot drivers, and other components loaded during the secure boot and trusted boot process. The attestation server compares information to known trusted information, allowing a system admin to identify if any unauthorized changes have occurred on the system. Okay, cool. Good to know. Which of the following methods is commonly used by administrators to restrict the execution of applications based on specific criteria, such as an application hash, digital signature, or storage location? Following methods is commonly used by admins to restrict execution of apps based on specific criteria, a hash, digital signature, or storage location. Um, I would assume a allow or deny list. Uh, could be wrong here. This one I am unaware of. Okay, it is C. Again, just kind of uh, best logical guess here, which is a way to pass exams, but isn't a way to understand the topics and concepts. So, highly recommend you always read into why the correct answer is right, uh, even if you did guess the right answer. Allow and deny lists. Administrators often use allow and deny lists to control the execution of applications based on specific criteria. Applications in the allow list can run without any issues, while those not on the list are prevented from executing. Criteria can include hash and digital signatures or storage locations, among others. Okay, let's move on. Which protocol is used to securely query routers or switches for information, ensuring confidentiality, integrity, and authentication? I think we had this question. I think we just hit uh, hit the mouse key too fast and skipped the question. But the correct answer here is D. SNM, SNMP version 3 or simple network manager protocol added encryption to ensure confidentiality, integrity, and authentication capabilities so that the user can be confident in the security of their communication with network devices. What is full disk encryption, FDE for short? The process of encrypting individual files and folders on on a storage device. The process of encrypting the entire disk. You know, this sounds right. The process of encrypting data in transit between two devices. The process of encrypting stored data stored in uh, cloud-based service. There is no indication of it only being used in cloud. I would assume it's the entirety of a hard drive uh, or storage device. So guessing, uh, going with B. Yep. FDE is the process of encrypting the entire drive, including operating system, applications, and which encrypts operating system. Uh, or sorry, let's read this through again. FD is the process of encrypting the entire hard drive on a storage device, including the OS, applications, and user data. This ensures that all data on the device is protected in the event of loss or theft. Windows BitLocker is an example of an FDE utility built in the Windows operating system. What is a measured boot? So we had this question, we got it wrong initially, but the correct answer here is C, a process that measures if any changes occurred with the operating system. And we kind of read through that. So move on. Which of the following is true about active load balancing? Active load balancing, only one server is active at a time. Active load balancing requires affinity to function properly. Active load balancing allows all servers on the active at the same time with any other server able to handle incoming requests. Active load balancing requires a primary and a standby server. Um, Context clues, go and see. Active load balancing, all servers are active simultaneously with anyone, with any one server, with any one server able to handle incoming requests. If one server fails, the other server can pick up the load and continue to operate seamlessly. Affinity is not required for active load balancing. And the others are wrong because, like in A's case, active load balancing, all servers are active at the same time. Affinity is not required. Active load balancing does not require a primary and standby. Which of the following is a characteristic of active passive load balancing? So I think this one would be like a active and a standby. That's what I'm kind of going with here. All servers are actively providing services simultaneously. Now this would be active. Load balancer distributes incoming load evenly across all servers. Uh, I just think that's a load balancer. The load balancer tracks. This is like explaining what a load balancer is, or what it does. The load balancer tracks session IDs to ensure that users are always assigned to the same server. Doesn't make sense there. Some servers are actively serving the traffic while others are on standby. Yeah, I would guess D here. This ensures that there's always a server available to serve traffic and provide redundancy in the case of a server failure, which um, um, is how uptime is. Um, uptime is guaranteed. There's always a backup server for you to fall on. The cloud works in a very similar way, except uh, scaled a lot more than just two servers. What is one way a load balancer can provide more efficient web? What is one way a load balancer can provide more efficient access to web servers? By prioritizing certain applications over others? Well, no. The term balance is what we're kind of looking for by using dynamic round robin to distribute load. So there is an option to do round robin. There are other options to do a different variation. I can't name them off the top of my tongue here or top of my head. Uh, but yeah, this is true for our load balancer by providing SSL offloading and caching servers. No, by allowing users to always communicate with the same server. Well, no, I mean the whole part of load balancing is you can go between one, two, three, four, five servers, and they would allow you to hit an endpoint. Um, Maybe you have four different web servers that you have running at the same time, all connected to one centralized database or sorry, their own database, and they all are like backups of each other. And then you have a load balancer that just kind of points to one web server um, and kind of round robins as to which one is available. So let's say like one of them is taken down. Well, it still has three more to pick from. So in this way, you kind of guarantee uptime for users. So going with B here. Um, by performing SSL encryption and decryption on a load balancer oh, sorry, was reading this incorrectly. So the correct answer is uh, okay. So the correct answer is C. Maybe I read the question wrong. What is a one-way a load balancer can provide more efficient access to web servers, uploading and caching? Yes, this is true. Um, but I was wrong here because I guess I was kind of thinking more of like how a load balancer works. Um, so we got this one wrong. Let's come back to it. What is a feature of load balancing technology that allows for continued service availability even if one server fails? Um, I would assume QoS would be the correct term here. Server redundancy would be a setup, right? Uh, and we're talking about a feature. So QoS or quality of services is on a lot of products. So I would assume that to be a feature, just kind of using context clues here. Okay, we are wrong again. Server redundancy is, I guess, a feature, right? So server redundancy is kind of where you have multiple servers that are are attached to a load balancer. But I guess I'm confused as to why this would be the right answer. One of the main functions of a load balancer technology is to distribute the load across multiple servers, i.e., redundant servers. Um, which of the follow which provide redundancy in the case of one of the servers fails, the load balancer recognizes the failure and continues to use the remaining server, allowing for continued service availability. That is true. That is true. I guess QoS is maybe wrong here. Maybe I was confusing that with like the router page and how it has QoS as a feature. Um, okay, good to know. Let's come back to that one. What is a feature for using load balancer for SSL TLS encryption? So, uh, what is a feature for using a load balancer for SSL and TLS encryption? Well, it doesn't. I'm pretty sure it's A. Okay, well, wrong again. A load balancer can perform SSL and TLS encryption and decryption in hardware, which can offload the CPU cycles and improve communication speeds between the load balancer and servers. This is known as SSL offloading. Okay, good to know. Wasn't too didn't know that it could do that, but good to know. So the correct answer here is D. Come back to that one. What is one way a load balancer can provide more efficient access to web servers? So we got this one wrong. Correct answer here was SSL offloading or caching. So go with C. Move on. What is a feature of load balancing technology that allows for continued service availability if one server fails? And again, we got this one wrong. Correct answer here is server redundancy. And then the final one, what is a feature of using a load balancer for SSL TLS encryption? Apparently a load balancer can do SSL TLS encryption in the hardware, which saves the other servers CPU usage and allows for better performance. So that's good to know. Gotta go with D here. All right, we are done with section 3. We did section 3 yesterday, but had some internet issues, and I don't think we fully completed it. So revisiting it is good. Um, and we did section 4 today. Section 4 we did a great job on, um, which is kind of surprising, but some experience in operations, so it kind of makes sense. Tomorrow is not my not so favorite governance and compliance and risk, so we'll see how that one goes. But yeah, that is about it. That is about it. So thanks for watching, and I hope you have a good day.